Hi, my name is David Fleming from Disciples Ignited, and we are studying Gems in John, devotional thoughts throughout the Gospel of John. Now, today we're going to be studying John chapter 2, starting with verse 13 through 17, the time that Jesus cleansed the temple. I'll be reading it to you from the NIV. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple courts, he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. So he made a whip out of cords and drove all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. To those who sold doves, he said, "Get these out of here! Stop turning my father's house into a market." His disciples remembered that it is written, "Zeal for your house will consume me." Wow, my friend, there is so much packed into this passage. But today I want to emphasize that which is the primary thought in this whole passage. The fact that Jesus takes it very seriously that the Father's house, the church, the temple at that time, is to be a house of prayer and worship. But what were they doing? They were turning the temple into a means of making money. It was a business to them. That's why Jesus overturned the money changers' tables. Now, what was that all about? Well, let me explain. The temple was used for making sacrifices to the Lord, so that's why the sheep and the bulls and the lambs were all there. But in order to buy those animals to be sacrificed to the Lord, the people coming from all over the Roman Empire were bringing all different currencies into the temple. And they said that these currencies are not holy. They're not allowed to be used to purchase sacrifices that are going to be offered to the Lord because, well, they made a lot of excuses. They said because they have imagery on them, sometimes imagery of other gods. And so therefore they wouldn't be fit. They wouldn't be holy. They wouldn't be permissible to be used in the temple. And so I tell you what we'll do, they said. We will exchange the money that you have for the temple currency. And the temple currency was of a higher quality silver count. And so they said, we'll do the exchange for you. This is the catch. They charged exorbitant amounts of exchange rates for the exchanging the currency. And so they were making money by exchanging the currency into that which they said would be allowed in the temple itself. And so the rulers of the temple, the Sanhedrin, they were making lots of money through these exchange of currencies. What were they doing? They were turning God's house into a business to make money to line their own pockets. This infuriated Jesus because he saw what they were doing. He knew their reasoning. He knew their purpose. And he said, "No, why are you turning my father's house into a market house, into a place of business?" What do we learn from this? God's house is to be a place of prayer and worship. Now, really, what this makes me think is if the Lord came to visit your church or my church, would he make a whip and start removing things? Would he want to do a mass cleansing? Or would he be pleased? If he came to one of our prayer meetings at our church, would he be pleased? Or would he look at the numbers of people that come on Sunday morning, but then he would look at the numbers that come at prayer meeting and see that there's usually such a difference? Well, that speaks on us that usually we treat prayer as the least important thing that we go to, if we go to it at all. I encourage you, ask the Lord to speak to your heart about what he thinks about your prayer life and the prayer life of the church that you attend. And may the Lord begin to change our hearts, that we would have zeal for his house, just as he exemplified that day when he cleansed the temple. May our hearts desire his house to be that which is his desire, that it will be the house of prayer. Think about that. And join with me tomorrow as we discuss some more gems in the Gospel of John. We'll see you tomorrow.